Right, the latest lines that are coming through to us are of an F-15 combat jet, a US combat jet, shot down, it seems, in a friendly fire incident. We can bring you these images now. This is in Kuwait. You can see that F-15 there on fire, spiralling round in these dramatic images there as it hurtles towards the ground, seemingly having been struck by either US missile fire or perhaps Kuwaiti missile fire. Regardless, we believe it was a friendly fire incident. We have that same incident now from a different angle that we can show you as well. You're looking actually at the images from the ground of the parachute for one of the crewmen. So the two crew on board the F-15 managed to eject safely from this aircraft on the ground. We've got images of one of the crew in the back of a vehicle, actually, preparing to take him off to hospital. He looks uninjured, thankfully. These ejector seats, invented, by the way, by the British, have saved so many lives right around the world. So an unfortunate incident, a serious incident, but it seems to have been an incident of friendly fire in Kuwait where one of their own combat jets was shot down over Kuwaiti airspace. As I say, Ellie, listen, this is just one of so many developments overnight and this morning. Another significant development to tell you about is what unfolded in Cyprus. RAF Akrotiri, that British sovereign base on Cyprus, the confirmation now from sources that it wasn't just targeted by one drone, but two drones. One drone impacted RAF Akrotiri. The other was apparently shot down before that. I should say you're looking at images there again of Kuwait. This is a US airbase in Kuwait being impacted by a drone attack there, and US personnel who are shooting these images, quite shocked by the nature of what has been happening there. That's going back to the F-15 again. But so Akrotiri, a very important development that we want to get into as well. In addition to that, as we speak, there is a fresh wave of attacks going into Iran from Israel and the US this morning, and a retaliatory series of strikes now coming out this morning from the Iranians, targeting not just Israel, but these various states around Iran. We're talking about the Gulf states in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, as we've just been talking about, Bahrain and Dubai as well. Multiple explosions heard in Dubai. A very serious, and it seems, sadly, escalating situation.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. Thank you for giving us, getting us across the picture there. In a sense that the conflict is spreading as well. Also got this line from Lebanon's Ministry of Health. They've released an initial casualty count from recent Israeli airstrikes. They're reporting that 31 people have been killed and 149 people have been injured. Of course, it's only been a few hours since Hezbollah decided to join the fight. So those are breaking lines that we've had in the past few hours. The Prime Minister has given the US permission to use UK bases to destroy Iranian missiles. So let's listen to that announcement that was made by the Prime Minister last night.
The only way to stop the threat is to destroy the missiles at source, in their storage depots or the launchers which are used to fire the missiles. The United States has requested permission to use British bases for that specific and limited defensive purpose. We have taken the decision to accept this request.
I'm sorry, Ellie, but this, this was just couched in legal niceties throughout that speech again. Yeah, we're in it. We're, allowing the US to use our bases, but we're not in it, by the way. Get off the fence, I think.
Very specific legal language, isn't it? And he does use the word specific. He uses the word limited there. This comes after the RAF base in Cyprus has been hit by not one drone, but two.
Well, the US president arrived back in Washington, D.C. last night from Mar-a-Lago and set out his objectives 48 hours after US and Israeli forces eliminated Iran's top command.
Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. We have very strong objectives. They could have done something 2 weeks ago, but they just couldn't get there. Earlier today, CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
Well, joining us now in the studio is Robert Fox, defence editor at the Evening Standard. And Robert, we were just reflecting there on Keir Starmer's announcement yesterday that the UK would allow the US to use their air bases. Very careful legal language being used by him. What did you make of it?
Labour Prime Ministers get into terrible trouble with legal advice on wars in the Middle East. Tony Blair and the truncated opinion about going to war in 2003. And now we have the same. And at the bottom of the pile, or very important in the whole business, is the Attorney General, Lord Goldsmith, in that on the Tony Blair occasion, and a very close friend and colleague of the Prime Minister, Richard Hermer, the Attorney General. They are joint, hip and thigh, in the belief in lawfare, not warfare. And I was just wondering, with the Prime Minister, I had a rather different view, I think, from you. I was wondering what the girls and boys on the base in Akrotiri, the support at the British base or the joint British base in Qatar, and the people out in the field who have been under fire in Syria since all this began, what they make of their Prime Minister speaking like that. He looked as if he was speaking under duress. He really didn't want to be there. He really didn't want to be saying all these things. And what happens when British interests and bases are attacked? It's not if and when, it's happened.
Yeah. Listen,
and this lawfare, not warfare, I think there's going to be quite a row, and I'm being understating, in Parliament about this. Is this the right way to direct your armed forces in a hot war?
Yeah. Listen, I can understand the difficulty that he's in, but if he doesn't agree with it, if the British government doesn't agree with what the US has done, do what the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez did and say that he condemns the actions of the US and the Israelis. But of course, he's not going to do that. But, saying that you can use our bases and then limiting it to, but it can only be to go after the likes of missile batteries. It can't be as part of decapitation strikes. And yet we can put our combat jets up as well to take down these missiles and drones, but we won't take out the missile batteries in Iran that are firing them in the first place. It's just a mess of legalese. I think you're either in the fight or you're not,
Mark,
aren't you?
You've said it beautifully. It's military nonsense. Because when is it offensive? When it's in the tube and aimed at your base or whatever, then it's an offensive action to take it out. When it's on its way and about to hit you, I suppose just about it could be defensive. That's why the Typhoon has shot down a drone headed towards Qatar. I think there has to be real clarification about this. He, I think, is speaking as much to his backbench as he is to the country and to the armed forces.